are, Barb. David?
Okay, let me bring my clock up. It went dark on me. Okay, ready to go.
I can. All right, I'll count us down in three, two, one. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of the program. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker, also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. You'll find Barb there. So, Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Well, Richard, today's got a really exciting show. We've got a couple of new programs that we're going to talk about. I love talking about home inspections because that's the source of a lot of frustration as we go through these real estate transactions. And the first topic, though, is going to be about what is the government doing about housing affordability? They're trying to do some things without being too influential on the market, which sound kind of interesting. One of them is offering an alternative credit scoring platform that will allow people that don't have credit to get rescored. And the reason for that is I don't know if people know that, but if you don't have debt, your credit score could go down to zero because the score grades how you handle debt. It's and nothing else. So a lot of people pride themselves on their high credit score, but that's just a score on how they're handling debt and how they're paying it off on a regular basis. The second topic is a new program we're very excited about, and it's how to buy your dream home without selling your home first, even in today's competitive market. That one's so exciting because that's probably the biggest dilemma for about 80% of buyers out there. Most people have a house to sell, and most agents and most brokerages don't have a solution for that problem. So they tell them, oh, put the house on the market, wait for the 120 or 180 days to get a contract, then you make an offer. The problem is those people miss out on their dream home. So we found a solution around it, which is really exciting. And then the third topic is how to avoid contract failures on your home inspection. So I know I've talked about this before, but it saddens me that in the state of Colorado, there is no license to be an inspector. I could be an inspector, and I don't know my way around any kind of tool. So it would be scary if I went and inspected the house. Even though I've been on thousands of them, it doesn't matter. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't look at electrical box and tell you what's going on here. But the state does not regulate that trade. So you never know what's going to happen. And we're going to talk about some of my stories about home inspections, as well as a solution on how you can avoid those kind of problems. And then the last topic really is about how to get your home sold fast. Most people tell me they want the most money, but the question is, are they willing to wait and wait and wait and wait to get their price and maybe not get their price? You wouldn't believe how many home sellers have told me, darn, I should have taken that first offer I got because it was a better offer than what happened down the road. So it's always good to be priced what I call realistically versus optimistically. And we're going to cover a strategy for that, as well as always, I love covering my hot new listings. Richard?
This market, the interest rates are staying the same. And even though it's prime real estate selling season, not all homes are selling. do you think that the housing prices are going to drop in 2026?
Well, I'm not seeing it. Actually, the first couple of months of the year so far, we've seen prices head up pretty much all across the Front Range. And we're seeing more homes go under contract than we've seen in a long time. So I'm pretty optimistic about what's going on in the market. There's definitely a lot of factors involved with that. Interest rates went up back in middle 2022 that made homes unaffordable for a very large segment of the buyer population, especially first-time home buyer. The first-time home buyer age went from in the 20s to in the 40s just because it was too expensive. The payments became too expensive, and the prices zoomed up in the last boom. Prices have not really corrected a whole lot, maybe just a little bit. But the rates have come down, and every month we are seeing them drop more and more. So affordability has been a problem that's really affected our market now for a while, and the prices are just not going down. So one of the options that the government is working on and trying to get more approval for mortgages, rather than relying on the FICO score, which is it's basically an acronym for a company that consolidates 3 different credit reporting companies. They pick the middle score and that's it. But for a lot of the younger people that don't have debt, they don't have a score. They score 0, which doesn't help them. So this program allows those buyers to fold in things like utility payments, rent payments, cell phone payments as part of their credit scoring package. And that helps them to be able to have a stronger credit score and be able to buy homes. And it will especially help people in the lower income category. So I'm pretty excited about that. The rates have been slowly coming down. As of yesterday morning, the 30-year fixed conventional was at 6.04. So we're almost getting with a 5 in front of it. The government rates are in the mid 5s. FHA is 5.62, VA is 5.64. So that's really good. And the prices are trending up. If you look at El Paso County, we're seeing the prices go up just in the past few weeks. In fact, all of these different counties, Douglas County, El Paso County, Teller County, the prices are heading up. Pueblo's been a little bit flat, but some of the leading indicators about Pueblo indicate that the number of available homes is starting to drop and the days on market are starting to drop, which is an indication that prices could be heading up this year. And if you look at how many home sellers have actually lowered their price as compared to where we were back in December, it's a big shift. Right now, we're showing about a third of the home sellers are dropping their price. But 2 months ago in December, more than half. That's another leading indicator that tells me that the market is improving. So if you're a buyer, I would not wait around. Don't wait for the prices to drop. I don't see it happening. I don't pay a lot of attention to the ones that go out there and say the sky is falling. The stats are the stats. Pending sales are rising, interest rates are dropping, and the buyers are finding a way to get in the game and buy a home. So as we go into the spring, generally just seasonally, we will see the home sellers get the most amount of money in the springtime going into the summer as compared to later in the year. So it's a great time to sell. It's also a good time to buy right now as well. But the key is to get it sold is to price the home what I call realistically. In other words, don't build in negotiating room in your price. It won't work. The buyers know the market for what they're looking for in every price range. And if it's out of their budget, they won't even come and see it. So I don't recommend, padding that number because it's a way to repel buyers before they even come and see the house. And so if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. One of the biggest dilemmas for most home buyers right now is if they have a home to sell. But stay tuned for the second segment. I'm really excited about this program. It's called Buy Before You Sell program that basically allows you to avoid missing out on your dream home, make a really good offer, and then put your home on the market. Most people don't have this program, and it really positions you as the best buyer against the competition. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how some government programs can actually help housing affordability. And when we come back, we're going to touch on some other legislation that was just passed is going to improve the housing market. Richard?
We're here talking with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb at 719 301 3900. Now, Barb, we're talking about what are some government initiatives that can help this housing affordability, and what are some things that can help increase home ownership?
Well, I did do some research on this new bill that just overwhelmingly passed in the House. I'm not sure if it's gone to the Senate yet. It's called Housing for the 21st Century Act. Overall, reading it is really boring. However, there's some key things that might help people out there. So basically, the federal government is trying to encourage the local governments to be less restrictive on zoning, add more multifamilies like duplexes and townhomes, and allow auxiliary dwelling unit. What that acronym means basically is if you have enough land to put a second house on the property or even a second living space on the property, try not to restrict that, because it has become very expensive for housing, especially for the younger generation. And this provides an opportunity to them for them to even buy a property that may have a second living space, be able to rent that out and get credit for that income. And that makes homes more affordable to them. And on the mortgage front, they're definitely going to be expanding stuff for multifamily housing, making the FHA loan limits higher because the prices have gone up higher, and removing barriers to new construction. So those are all good things. I don't know how it's going to affect the buyers at the end of the day. For buyers, it's all about, can I afford that payment? How much is the down payment? What is the credit score I need to buy? And how do they qualify for housing? We can help with all of that. We have connections with some fabulous mortgage companies that can help you. So give us a call at 719 301 3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. That's the name of the program. Barb is with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner, proprietor, and you can always reach Barb at 719 301 3900. I'm sorry. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to buy your dream home without selling first, even in today's competitive market. Stay tuned for that. Wow. There's apparently, I don't know if it would affect you or anybody you know, but David was just letting us know that there's a horrible accident on I-25 south of Pueblo. What'd you say, David? 4 dead?
4 dead, 130 cars piled
Holy
up.
cow.
Wow.
130 cars.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
weather down there or something?
It's 30 cars, and the wind and dust is just making them
Oh,
things.
130 cars. Wait. So at least, now I've got, because I need to repost this for
It's
just a
30
second.
cars. Yeah.
Well, but okay, they just changed it because up above it was a second ago it was 130. So they must have punched that in incorrectly. All right. I am set to go. If you are good, Barb.
yeah.
All right.
Reset my clock. Okay.
You know what? Let me talk to my boss real quick. He's
Okay. never a dull moment around here.
Yeah. Somebody tried to attack our dog on a walking trail last weekend.
Oh no.
Some liberal, snobby jogger.
What for?
Well, he wasn't on a lead. We were away up, in the Greenland Reserve area,
Okay.
and we didn't hear him coming. I didn't have earbuds in or anything like that, and he was running, and he came up from behind, and Bo just kind of jumped at. He's just a puppy,
Well, I mean,
He jumped at him.
that's what
He
dogs
goes,
are
"Your
for.
dog needs to be on a lead." And so we're trying to catch him, and he reaches over and grabs a rock and tries to hit him in the head with the rock. And he goes, "If I had a gun, I'd shoot him." I'm like, "Oh my God." And Mark got him to stop. But next time I'm carrying my Berna, and I got pictures of all the license plates in that parking lot. So
There you go.
I have my evidence. It's actually illegal to threaten bodily harm against an animal like that. Did you know that?
Well, it's illegal to threaten a person, so I can
Yeah.
imagine. And
Yeah.
you're even more liberal about dogs, so
Oh, I was so
And I take
mad.
it somebody was threatening your dog?
Yeah, he picked up a rock and tried to attack him.
Jeez.
So don't do that to an intel officer. I get the evidence.
I was going to say, officer, I've got the receipts if you want to use the current lingo, but I will say that I just wanted to find this spot so I knew where it was. I will say that thank God for body cams on police, and thank God for how many people have got cell phones, because a lot of times, it would just be somebody's word against another person, and you know, who do you believe? This makes it a lot easier when you've just got video, and half the time, if somebody looks guilty after they've done something stupid, they know it. I mean, and the video will show that. So, always something. All right.
Yeah,
What's
I
your
was ruined my walk, and I was gonna, if I see him again, it's not gonna be a good meeting.
Oh, so that was near your home.
No, we were out on the trail in the Greenland Reserve. There's a trail that
That's
goes
right.
for
You said
miles
that.
and miles.
Yeah, and there's a dog park there.
Yeah, we'd stepped out of the dog park. He was supposed to be on a lead, but there was nobody in sight. And this guy came up real fast behind us. We didn't hear him coming. And the dog just jumped. That's all he did. He didn't bite. He wasn't aggressive. He was just surprised like we were. And he turned and made some comment. Then he picked up a rock and tried to attack him.
Whoa.
My husband got him to stop, but oof.
That could go south real quickly.
Huh?
That could go south really quickly. I mean, I don't. We had a dog named Sam. It was my favorite dog, and he never, not once did he ever in his entire life bite anybody,
Mhm.
except he had a tendency to run up and bark at people if he didn't know them.
Yeah, it kind of just jumped.
Right, and that's exact same thing our dog did, and pretty much the same reaction. This guy thought that he was being attacked and kicked the dog. Now the dog does have a reason to bite. I don't know.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
makes it worse.
I have these people I don't even think have dogs, so I don't think they understand any of it.
Well, I went into the parking lot and got pictures of every single license plates of the cars that were there.
There you go.
And I'm going to go back on Saturday. And if I see him again, we'll find a way to put two and two together.
Well,
because
was he jogging or running or something? Or
he was running.
Yeah.
And he was running really fast. Like we could not hear him coming. Normally you can hear people coming. It wasn't that windy or anything. It was very strange. It was just kind of, because typically if we just see anybody off in the distance, we would have secured him, but we didn't even know he was coming.
And the other thing is people do it just as a politeness on your right, on your left, whatever.
Yeah.
That just to be polite to a person who is walking by themselves, but certainly with a dog, I would have let them know,
No, he intended to do that. So,
Probably. Yep. All right. I
maybe.
got the next segment. You got a clock. David's got a clock. You ready, Barb?
Right.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers want to sell their home for the most money they can get, obviously, but there are some situations where people need to use other non-traditional ways of selling. Can you explain how a home seller with a house to sell can buy their next home and actually do that first?
Well, Richard, it's the biggest dilemma for 80% of home buyers looking to move up or downsize or whatever. They need their net proceeds to move to their next home. And so they can't get their net proceeds until their home is sold. The problem is when they actually make an offer contingent on their home selling, it's a very weak offer. Most sellers are going to reject that offer. And I ask the home sellers all the time, how do you feel about this offer? A buyer says, oh, we love your home. We want to make a good offer, but will you reserve your home for me and wait for me to sell my home? And oh, by the way, it's not even on the market yet. I don't want to sell my house unless I know I can get yours. That's definitely a catch-22. It puts both parties in this uncertain zone where they don't know when the home is going to sell. It's very nice that they like the home, but if they can't, they're not a buyer yet, right? They can't perform. So the traditional ways that these are done are with, maybe you get a home equity line of credit and you have to qualify for your current house as well as your next house. That could be a problem for a lot of people. The other problem might be that you have to have your loan on your house paid off before you can buy your next home. And then the other problem is, what about the buyer for your home? So we've got one closing this week where they made an offer contingent on their home selling. Their home just went under contract. So it was a lot of risk for the seller. Why is that? Well, because they not only have to worry about their own appraisal, their own inspection, their own loan approval for the buyer buying their home, but they have to worry about all three of those issues for the buyer that's buying their buyer's home. And it's kind of like this domino effect that if one of them doesn't go right, it can crash the whole deal. I think the worst one I ever had was over the holiday weekend, between Christmas and New Year's, supposed to sell before the end of the year. Of course, the lender can't pull it off. And it was a three-way transaction. So the buyer buying our buyer's home also had a house to sell. So their home had to go well. This buyer's deal had to go well. And the loan that they're doing to buy the house that we were selling had to go well. And of course, it did close, but it didn't close on time. So that's another nightmare if you have to all of a sudden make all these new moving arrangements because the lender can't pull it off on time. And I hate to say this, but these lenders have a really tough time pulling off a closing on time. Most of them can't do it. It's never their fault. It's always the underwriter or the appraiser or somebody else. They don't plan ahead. And then, oh, sorry, we can't close this week. Oh, can you give us, a few more weeks? And in the meantime, the home seller's making moving plans and they're planning on funding the moving out of the proceeds of the sale. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong with a contingent sale. But the worst ones are the offers that come in where their home is not on the market and they're asking the seller to actually just take their house off the market and wait for them to sell their home whenever, especially if it's in another state. It's just too much uncertainty for most home sellers to accept. So what can buyers do about it? Well, one option is to do a home equity line of credit if you have home equity. And in that case, you have to qualify for the loan that you currently have. the home equity line of credit payment as well as the payment on the new house. A lot of people can't pull that off. There's also something called a bridge loan. Now, if you have really good qualification, that can be done, and it's a nice, smooth transaction. But for most people, it's difficult to qualify for 2 houses. Also, when you make a contingent offer like that, it's definitely putting your offer at risk of not getting the home and getting moved out by a buyer that doesn't have a house to sell. And just so you know, when I get contingent offers on my listings, the first thing I'm doing is taking a look at the house that's going to sell and seeing, okay, well, how sellable is it? Is it really priced right? Because I'm not sure every agent really knows how to price it right. They'll talk a big game and say, oh, yeah, we got it priced aggressively. I had one that promised me that, and they got an offer and the seller rejected their offer. So boom, we didn't have the sale go through. So there's just so much uncertainty with a contingent sale. It could derail the home buyer that wants to buy their dream home from getting the house. Another problem is, let's say they're building a house. There's an awful lot of builders that will not accept a sale contingency, or if they do, there's a deadline. They'll say, all right, we'll give you 60 days to get a contract while we're building this house. But if you don't have it under contract at this point, we're going to put our new construction home that we built for you back on the market and get a new buyer for it. We have a solution for all of this. So don't worry. I'm just trying to, kind of present the problem so you understand it. But we have a really good solution, and that's the whole point of this segment. Right now, the average days on market, all up and down the Front Range, is about 120 days in most of the counties. Okay, but those days on market numbers are calculated only on the homes that are selling. It does not include the ones that are not selling, which there are quite a few of those. And then we have, there also, let's say you make an offer and somebody else makes an offer. They don't have a house to sell, or you're competing with a cash buyer, which probably 22 to 25% of the offers right now in the US are cash buyers. It's tough to compete with a cash buyer if you as a buyer are getting a loan. You have to worry about appraisal. You have to worry about loan approval, and so does your seller. Believe me, every seller asks me, how's the appraisal going? What did the appraisal come in at? Did it come in at asking price or not? And we never know. They won't give it to us. They keep that the best kept secret on the appraisal, unless it appraises for less than the agreed upon sales price. So at the end of the day, home sellers, when they're selling a home, they want certainty. With our program, you can buy a home and close in as quickly as 5 days, and then go ahead and put your home on the market after that. And it's not a very expensive program. It allows you to be able to make that transition with certainty. I talked to a home seller recently that wanted to move into a different floor plan, a different location, and there are some properties on the market that would fit their profile, but they can't make an offer until their home is selling. So this program solves that problem. And it allows you basically to buy your next home first, and then you put your home on the market at your pace. And you don't have to worry about bridge financing or anything like that. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how to buy your dream home first without selling first. And when we come back, we're going to give you a little bit more detail about the program and give you some ideas on how you qualify. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We have tens of thousands of buyers just in our little database of buyers in waiting. We also have dozens of cash buyers that can buy your home if you want to go that way. They even compete with each other, which is really fun. So the cash buyers some of these options are really, really good and not very expensive. And if you are thinking of moving, typically we can match at least 1,000 buyers. That would be a high match for your home once we go on the market. And you can just give us a call and we'll come over and give you a really good idea on what to do, what not to do to get your house ready for sale, give you an idea what your home will sell for in this market, show you how much you'll put in your pocket when it sells. And all you have to do is call us at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Real Estate Voice, you're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about selling a home. Barb, why would a home seller be interested in finding out about a solution to help get into your next home while your first home still needs to, while your first home while your first home still needs to be sold?
Well, I find, Richard, that most people will not move unless they are pretty certain where their destination is going to be. It's the uncertainty that's very disruptive. The benefit of this program that we offer is you don't have to have an appraisal. You can move quickly. If the perfect home hits the market, you can actually, put your finger on that and say, this is the one, and start the process. It minimizes the risk of the deal falling apart because your home didn't sell. It gives you peace of mind, certainty that your dream home is going to be there when you want it, as well as certainty that your home will be sold. You don't have to worry about repairs. It's really, really a good solution, and it gives you a negotiating advantage when you are purchasing your next home. That's another problem with sale contingencies. If I get an offer on one of my listings contingent on their home selling, those better be really good offers, because there's so much risk for the home seller. Chances of you getting rejected are really high if you come in well below asking price and ask for closing cost and all these concessions and fries with that too. It's just not going to work. But with our program, you're actually in a position where you can negotiate with great confidence. And the other big benefit of it is it allows you to move once. I've met a lot of people that decided, okay, I want to build this new home, so I'm just going to go ahead and sell my home, move into an apartment, wait for my new home to be ready, and that way I have certainty. Well, it's no fun moving. It's even worse when you have to do it twice or 3 times. So this allows you to basically move once, no temporary housing, no contingencies, make a strong offer, and be able to get your dream home before you sell your current home. To find out more, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to avoid contract failures on a home inspection when you are selling your home. Barb has that coming up next.
All right. I hope I explained that well without really saying what it was.
Well, I think we are. Can I run to the men's room real quickly? Let me do that
Yeah.
real fast.
Of course.
I'm loading in the news too, so it's gonna get on the air.
Melissa Henry in the KKTV 11 newsroom on 740 KVOR. At least 4 people.
I did get it in the news report.
Oh, good.
So
You know, it's just, you never know. Every time something like that happens, I just think of everybody I know who is driving, and, my kids, my friends, everybody. And
I like a little heads up.
jeez.
Go
Okay.
figure.
I've got segment 3 ready to go, Barb.
Okay, give me just 1 second.
Yep, you got it.
I just realized I hadn't done something. Through the time. Okay, trying to find. I won't worry about it right now. All right, ready.
All right. I'll count us down in 3. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers fear that inspection. Many people think that most buyers want to purchase the home as is. What are some of the red flags that home sellers need to prepare for when they're selling their home?
Well, Richard, the typical process when a home seller puts their home on the market is basically, you're marketing, you're showing, and then you finally get a contract. That's a happy time, but then they're not done yet. They're going to bring in an inspector to check out the house. And here's the thing, in the state of Colorado, there is no license to be an inspector. Now they do license to test for radon gas. That's it, but not the systems on the house. So what we see, even if there's been multiple inspections on the home, I've had homes go through 2 or 3 inspections, and each time the different inspector asked for different stuff, and some was legit and some was not legit. So most sellers think that the deal is done and it's sold as is, but then the buyer comes in and says, okay, we'll take the house, but we want this, we want that, and some are reasonable and valid, and some are way off base. So, and I've actually had agents tell me, I had one time that asked for $1,000 concession. And I just asked him, I said, are you really going to blow up this deal over $1,000? He goes, no, but I had to ask for something. So it is kind of a way that real estate agents sort of justify their value to say, look, I got you a discount on the house, and look, I got you stuff on the inspection. And I don't agree with that. Personally, I think what buyers should be doing, buyer agents should be doing, is getting the house that they want. Help them get the house. Don't get in the way. And it happens all the time. Now, most home sellers assume that their home is sold as is. and the inspection is not the time for the buyer to get new stuff. They don't get new windows. They don't get new granite counters. I've had pretty much everything be requested by buyer's agents. And there's a whole bunch of different systems that get scrutinized on an inspection. The typical ones are roof, furnace, water heater, plumbing. And let me just say something about plumbing. These inspectors will go around and turn on every single faucet in the house at the same time and leave it running while they're doing their inspection. Now, who lives like that? I don't think that's normal. Somehow they manage to fill up the sinks, cause an overflow. Oops, there's a drip. Oh, there's a leak under the sink. And actually, there is no leak. It's just that they created an overflow where the little hole in the sink went over. So we see that an awful lot. Furnaces, typically furnaces should last 22 to 30 years. Some don't last that long, but I say a majority of them last a long time. So if the furnace age is beyond what they call the useful life, same with water heaters, which is 8 to 10 years, the inspectors might recommend repair replacement. Now, I would always bring in a third-party professional in the trade to look at that, because sometimes the inspectors are right and sometimes they're just way off. I love how the inspectors deem water heaters dead at age 8. Our water heaters lasted well over, I think it was like 22 years before I finally said, okay, let's not take the risk anymore and go ahead and replace them, even though they worked. Electrical panels. So I see a lot of times where the inspector will ask for a new electrical panel because the panel is a certain brand. There's 1 or 2 brands that could be fire hazards if they weren't properly built, but they're also in older homes. And in older homes, the requirements for more electrical stuff has gone up over the years. So what happens is people overload these circuits that really can't handle it, and it could create a fire hazard. Sewer and septic are my 2 favorites. So here's the thing. This started probably in 2018, that the inspectors all of a sudden decided that they're going to run a sewer scope down. Initially, they did it down toilets and down tubs without permission. They just come in with their big rope, and run a camera down there and scratch up the appliances. I've had them rip vinyl flooring. I've had them pull a toilet and not properly reseat it and cause a leak. I've had them drop stuff down the sewer line. My favorite one was last year, where the guy used a fisheye lens down a sewer line. So the shape of the lens was almond. The shape of the video was almond shaped, when in fact the sewer line was perfectly round. So that guy went on to convince 2 plumbers to put together a bid between $9,000 and $13,000 and convince them, oh, the sewer line's crushed. We need a new sewer line. And we got these 2 big expensive bids and almost convinced the seller that there was a problem, till he brought in his own legit plumbers. And they're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the sewer line. So I don't know why they do this. Oh, another one regarding the sewer line that drives me nuts is some agents will bring in not a plumber, not an inspector, but an excavation company to check the sewer line. So, Richard, what do you think an excavation company does for a living?
They would dig and fill and dig and fill and dig some
Yeah,
more.
they dig holes. Why would you ask them if it needs a new sewer line? What do you think they're going to say? So I had to change the way I do business. I started with my inspection policy, where I'd send this document to the buyer's agents and just outline the rules on inspections. Here, you can't do this. I don't let them pull toilets without a plumber doing it. There's a lot of rules. The problem is I'm just Mrs. Real Estate Agent. I'm not a party to the contract. Nobody cares what I say. And I don't even think that they're reading it, to be honest. I don't think the agents are reading it. And that happened last year when we had a septic. Well, what happened was it was a ranch style home with a finished basement. And in the ranch style home, the inspection objection that came back was that the basement toilet was missing. So when I'm presenting this to the seller, he goes, well, you know what? That's kind of funny because I think I just used that toilet yesterday. So I really don't know how the basement toilet would be missing. And he came up with this picture. It was really funny. And the picture was of the toilet down there in that bathroom. And he had taken the silicone mat and pulled it under his knee. So he's all comfortable when he pulls the toilet, checked the sewer line. Then he reseated the toilet and the mat was stuck underneath the toilet. So I'm just, and right behind that bathroom was a sewer clean out. He didn't need to pull a toilet. So because I got in cat fights with agents about whether or not I can tell them that they have to bring a plumber to check the sewer line, I started having to put it, suggest that the sellers put it in their contract. That way the buyer knows full well, and they don't have to listen to the real estate agent say whatever she wants to say. So septic systems are even more involved. In El Paso County, they require that if you're selling a property, you have a septic system inspected. And if the tank is more than 30% full, it has to be pumped. And then you have to apply with the county. It's almost $400 to pay the county to evaluate the inspection that you did on the septic system that costs another $600. And that is an obligation on the seller to do that. That's what the county put in their document. So you can't make the buyer do it. And if it's a system that has failed, it could be months and months before this gets done. I had one home seller a couple years ago. They initiated the process late March and it didn't get finished until July, even though we had a buyer and they had big holes in the ground. And basically the process is you have to bring in and do a soils test if it needs a new septic system. And then the engineer has to design the plan based on the soils test. Then it has to get a permit from the county. All that takes a lot of time. So I would absolutely get ahead of checking your sewer line. For roofs, I would say a majority of houses, at least 2 out of 3, 4 out of 5 homes have some little issue with the roof. Some need roof replacement, some need a minor repair, whatever. Most of the roofing companies will come out and inspect it and certify it for free if it doesn't need work, but I would get ahead of that. Some other things that come under inspection besides, pulling toilets apart would be of course, the electrical system. And if you have a well, if the buyer is supposed to be paying for the inspections, not the seller, with the exception of the septic system. But if it's a well system, then for some loans, like a VA loan, they have to test the water to make sure the water doesn't have bacteria or metals. Those tests take time. So I always try to put in my counter, hey guys, make sure you get those tests done early so it doesn't delay the closing. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we're talking about how you can avoid contract failures on inspections and just some of the problems that we run into on that piece of the home sale process. When we come back, we're going to talk about some best solutions to help you pass your home inspection that you can do in advance. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are interested in selling your home and want to get in touch with Barb, that number, 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about how to avoid the red flags on home inspections for sellers. Barb, what are some of the other home inspection issues that you've seen come up through the years?
Well, in general, don't trust what the inspector says as gospel. Bring in a professional in the trade, because a lot of times it's a different story when you bring in somebody that's actually licensed to handle it. And they use some interesting tools. I call them inspector gadget. So they've got infrared detectors that only measure changes in temperature, but from their infrared detectors, they infer that, oh, there must be a plumbing leak. And that isn't necessarily true. They'll demand mold remediation when they haven't tested for mold. I even had one guy come in the house and wave this mold wand. So I see all kinds of crazy stuff. Don't let them get by with it. Make sure you bring in your own professionals in the trade. And don't worry about an appraisal. Appraisal, generally there are some repairs that could be done required on an appraisal. But if the buyer's getting a VA or an FHA loan, you might have to worry about broken windows, missing outlet covers, missing stair rails, that kind of stuff. Safety issues. It's not that difficult to pass those inspections. But at the end of the day, the best way to get this done is to do it in advance. So what we recommend our home sellers do is do a pre-inspection. We call it a certified pre-owned home. We get ahead of all those issues. That way, when they go on the market, they have confidence. They know what the issues are. They have time to address them. They have time to negotiate for the best contractors. And that way they have the best outcome. To find out more, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We will always give these free in-home consultations on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. We'll go over all the cost, what your home will sell for, and also what you'll put in your pocket when it sells, as well as bring cash offers. So give us a call at 719-301-3900. And to find out on our free report, the 11 things you should know to pass your home inspection, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click the free report button. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, simply call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900, or go online to barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the best way to sell a house fast in today's market, plus Barb's hot new listings. Stay tuned for those. There you go. Let me get another drink out of the car. I'm in no man's land here. If I drink water, that's not helping. And if I drink Red Bull, that's not helping.
Yeah. There we go.
Stupid.
Agents being dumb again.
I was just reading the feedback. Oh, we decided not to offer full price. It's still their favorite house.
Oh. So you don't really want it?
Guess not. Hmm.
Ooh. They're showing some pictures of that crash south of
Is it
Pueblo.
bad?
Yeah, it's at least 4 dead, and then a couple were rushed to the hospital. So but those vehicles are just a mess.
I wonder how that happened.
I don't know. The vehicles that I saw that were involved were a couple big rigs and some nice trucks that don't look so nice anymore.
Was it a truck that crashed?
Well, there was there's a bunch of dust that was kicking up across the highway because there's
Oh, so they couldn't see.
yeah.
All right.
It was visibility that was a major factor in it, but I wonder if one of those rigs actually crossed the highway, and because they were pushed by the wind.
That, and I have to, this sounds so bad, but can you imagine one of these foreigners who shouldn't even be in the country, shouldn't even be driving a truck to begin with, trying to control a truck when the winds are like this?
That never happens, Richard.
I know, right?
What are you talking about? They don't give a license to just anybody.
You know what I will tell you is surprising to me is, and actually it's been happening so frequently, I can't even remember the specific over the weekend, but it was yet another one. Oh, I know what it was. A guy who is, I don't know what he's looking at, but he was not looking at the road in front of him. Semi comes traveling up probably 30 miles above what everybody else is doing, slams into 3 vehicles that all, accordion together, and then he kind of drifts off to the right and nails another truck that's on the side of the road. And person here illegally shouldn't have a license. Frank Azar is going to make a ton of money, I'll tell you that right now. Because if you take a case, my standard has always been, all right, so which side of a case would I take? And I guarantee you, if I were suing one of these trucking companies that had employed any of these people, much less the governors of some of these states, and on and on and on, there is a lot of money to be made because nobody on a jury is going to look favorably at somebody who shouldn't even be in the country.
Yeah, that's true. They can't read English.
Yeah. I'll go back. Don't get me started. I'll go back and just start being a lawyer again. All right. I got segment 4 ready to go.
Ready.
Count us down in 2, 3, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with the host of the program, Barb Schlinker, the owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, a lot of people look at those automated valuations like on Zillow, or they talk to their neighbors about the asking price to determine what their home is worth. Especially now that it's taking longer to sell a home, how does a home seller, okay. Let me just I'll do the whole thing again. 3, 2, 1. Barb, a lot of people look at those automated valuations like on Zillow or their neighbor's asking price to determine what their home is worth, especially now that it's taking longer to sell a home. How does a home seller sell with their home and do it fast in a market like this?
Well, Richard, it's all about pricing. I handle all different kinds of properties. I have some that need a lot of work, and the seller's line in the sand is we're going as is. We're not fixing anything. I don't care what your problem is. It's as is. So you can't really ask full retail the top of the price point for a property that has issues, right? But there is a sweet spot for every home. I had a nice home that I sold a few months ago up in Teller County, and the seller decided to systematically lower the price until we reached a point where we got 3 offers. And so I went and reached out to all of the agents that brought offers and told them, hey, we've got 3 offers. Please make your best and highest offer. Not sure when the seller will respond, more than likely across the weekend on Monday. And one of the agents asked me to show her the other offers, which obviously I can't do. The other one clearly didn't believe me and told her buyer not to make her best offer and not to worry because the seller for sure was going to counter her. So guess what? She had a lot of sour grapes when she did not get the house and somebody else did. So at the end of the day, if you're a home seller, there is a number. It doesn't really matter about condition where buyers will buy. If you price it too high, I believe the buyers know more about the market for the homes that they're looking in than most agents do. They know about pricing. They know if it's priced too high. Of course, everybody would like to pay less for everything. But at the end of the day, if you have competition, you have to put your best offer hat in the ring. But you also have to know you have competition. I recently had an agent that didn't tell me we had competition. Oh, sorry, we took another offer, one of the competing offers. I'm like, what? It would be fair and would be helpful to the seller to tell all the agents making an offer to put their best foot forward, because I've seen it happen time and time again. And I think it's really weird that they know there's other offers. They make an offer, and then you come back and ask them for their best and highest, and they go up again. So they have not made their best offer. I don't get that, but it happens all the time. Pricing it too low can't really hurt you, except that some buyers might be concerned about, what's wrong with the house if it's really too low. And, some people that are selling their home will try to squeeze as much money as possible out of, the market as they can. Most home sellers tell me, I want the most money, obviously, of course. However, you have to look at the big picture. You have to look at what homes have sold and why they sold and why others did not. So buyers are super picky right now. They want everything. They want the HGTV remodeled look. They want it priced right. They want the whole 9 yards, unless it's priced well below similar sales. And then all bets are off. And the market's going to tell you right away if you got it wrong. You'll be able to tell by the volume of showings. There might be onesies, twosies when you start on the market, but then after that, if you're not getting a lot of showing activity, if it's marketed right, it's a price problem. It's not necessarily the marketing. Although I have seen a lot of marketing errors online. I've seen where there's no thought put into putting these pictures online, all kinds of clutter and junk everywhere. And it's a problem. It will repel buyers. They won't even come to see it. So I like to use the benchmark of the volume of showing to tell if the home is going to sell. If you're getting lots of showings, but no offers, you're just a little bit off on the price. If you're getting offers, you're right there, stay there. If you're not getting very many showings, something's wrong. It's either price or marketing. More than likely it's price. And according to the National Association of Realtors, if you price a home too high and then slowly walk the price down, at the end of the day, you're going to net less money and it's going to take more time. So you're always better off being priced right out of the gate at a price where the buyers go, oh my gosh, this is the best deal. I got to have it. That is the best place to have a buyer that really loves the house and has to have it, because they'll make their best offer and they will do everything they can to get it to the finish line. And what about Zillow and all those automatic valuations? Well, I just asked AI recently, a little bit about Zillow's quote algorithm. Doesn't that sound fancy, Richard, to say we have an algorithm about house values?
Specific and so precise, Barb.
Well, at the end of the day, AI is saying it's based on homes that are on the market, not based on homes that have sold, right? So you can ask $1 million for a house that's worth $500,000, but is that going to work? Probably not, unless some famous person lived there or it's on a lake or someplace like that. But at the end of the day, anything that's put out there, anything that's asked, basically gets the opinion of value formatted on Zillow. So it's not accurate, not even close. In fact, his CEO of Zillow, when he put his home on the market, his zestimate was 1.5 million, is sold for 1 million up in Seattle, right? So it's obviously not a very accurate benchmark. I like to look at apples to apples, just like an appraiser would do. That's for the purpose of verifying it for loan availability. Some other things that add value are views, the bedroom configuration. A lot of people love ranchers. Some other things that add value are things like the condition, the finishes of the home definitely make a difference. And that's one of the things the appraisal will ask is like, have there been any recent improvements of the home? Because they can fold that into their opinion of value as well. And you only need an appraisal to support the contract price if the buyer is getting a loan. You certainly don't need it for a cash buyer. But at the end of the day, if you price the home just right, that's the way that you net the most money and you sell it quickly. That doesn't mean it has to be completely remodeled with Corinthian leather. I had one that we sold last spring, and it was so cute. It was built in the 50s or 60s. The kitchen was not updated. It still had original appliances from whatever that was 60 years ago, and they worked. But it was in good condition. It was staged well. It was marketed well. It was priced right. That's the key. And we ended up getting well over asking price. And there was some other heartbroken buyers that didn't get that home. So at the end of the day, it's all about pricing the home, what I call realistically versus optimistically. You have to look at similar sales. There's a certain segment of the population that's looking for main level living. There's a certain segment of the population that's looking for school districts. There's a certain segment of the population that's looking for a 2-story, or they want a walkout basement, or they want to be close to X, whatever it is. You have to put your buyer's hat on and not just look at similar sales, but look at what the current competition is and position the home to be what I call the best home on the block. So if you are thinking of making a move, this is what we do for home sellers every week. We give them tips on what to do, what not to do to get their house ready for sale. We'll show them what the market's doing, give them a really good idea what their home will sell for and how much they'll put in their pocket when it sells. All they need to do is give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900. And Barb, what are some other magic bullets on pricing your home to get that top dollar?
Well, don't expect a bidding war. Those do happen still. And if they do, you got to make whatever your offer is that you're okay. If somebody pays above that, that you move on and find another house. Okay. But if it's priced right, it could definitely happen. You want to make sure you pick the right agent that helps you market the home to make it look like the best home on the block. And also, pricing is the probably number one factor in making sure a home will get sold for the right price and for the most money. And I always like the option of pricing what I call realistically versus optimistically. Even in this market, I've had multiple homes sell for well over asking price. And that's the way you do it right. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Again, you're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you're thinking of selling your home and you want to get the most amount of money, then call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, time for that lightning round, hot new listings.
Well, I've got a nice little manufactured home on 35 acres. This one, they just lowered the price to $179. It's a great buy if somebody wants peace and quiet out there. We also have a fabulous townhome in the southwest part of town. It's perfect for 2 adults living there. It basically has two master suites set up and a 2-car garage. Price at $274,900. Beautiful home on 2436 North Mead in the low 3s. A fantastic deal. They just lowered the price on 701 North El Paso to $285,500. Another home down in Fountain at 365. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath home with a 2-car garage. And then we have a great home up in Florissant, priced at $400,000. Great acreage, lots of space. You could actually rent out the basement, priced at $4. Spectacular home, 7518 Vincent Drive. Lots of all new everything with spectacular views, priced just under $1 million. And then we're featuring an amazing property out on Judge Orr Road. This estate is spectacular. It has an elegant home with 5,400 square feet. It has an auxiliary dwelling unit that's almost 3,000 square feet and parking for over 11 cars, including RV parking, and 2 barns for your 4-legged furry family members, as well as a really cool covered garden. And then we have a great piece of land on Hidden Valley up in Park County, as well as some fantastic homes coming very soon, priced in the low 4s. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com and click on our featured homes. Richard.
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb. That number is 719-301-3900. Or as always, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That'll do it for this weekend. Barb, great to talk with you. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.